What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I like what I hear. Actually, I love it. Looking forward to it. Um, just kind of worked on my workload, so things are getting easier. I have plenty of time on Saturday to watch the fights, and it's a great fight card. You got Canelo's brother fighting, which I mean I don't really care about that. But you have Keith Thurman, Soto Caras. Caras reinvented his career with significant kind of must-have wins over Selçuk Aydin, who had only been once beaten by Robert Guerrero, and then knocking out Berto and just really hurting Berto and beating him up. The first round, I think he hurt Berto and he stopped him in the 12th. So great against a young prospect, power puncher, boxer puncher, who has knockout power and cruel intentions, very bad intentions, cruel intentions without Ryan Felipe. Um, and then Adrien Broner, of course, for the headlining performance against Marcos Maidana. They did an interview with Broner, and this is the statement he made. Great stuff, and it makes me want to see the fight more. It's kind of long, so just bear with me. So this is coming from Broner. If he makes a mistake and I have a chance to get him out of there, I'm going to get him out of there. If I just beat him to death, then I beat him to death. Who doesn't want to see a young star on the rise like Adrien Broner fight a guy like Marcos Maidana, a hard puncher, a knockout artist with 31 knockouts? Who doesn't want to see that? There's always that what if. It's going to be a hell of a fight. I don't go for knockouts, but I really feel I'm going to knock this guy out. I'm going to be his first stoppage. I'm going to be the one to stop this guy, and we're going to move on to the next one. Maidana is a good fighter, a hell of a fighter, but he's not on my level. My career is going to the rooftop. It's going to skyrocket. But this is just the beginning. It starts here. I don't even think I've showed all of my abilities yet. Maidana is a different type of fighter, and he might bring something else out of Adrien Broner the world hasn't seen yet. Or he might be a regular fighter after I make him look the way I make him look. Every boxer wants to be where I'm at right now. I'm the person who's going to take over boxing after Floyd Mayweather. Everybody wants this position, so I don't get mad when I hear that Keith Thurman wants to fight me. He's supposed to. Who doesn't want to be where I am? On December 14th, we're worried about Maidana. I respect his coach. I respect him as a fighter. People say I'm being bashful. I'm being respectful. I can't talk trash to someone who doesn't speak English. He's looking at me crazy right now, and I don't know if he's faking or not. He's a very respectful guy, so I have to respect him. But on December 14th, I'm going to beat his ass. I'm going to beat his ass for sure. We could be friends after that. I'm not coming to play. It's going to be the AB show, and I'm going to be victorious. We don't think about losing. I don't watch tape, but I've seen him a couple of times. Everybody knows Maidana makes a lot of mistakes, and you can't make mistakes with Adrien Broner. You never know. Maybe I have to sit there and brawl with 12 rounds. Maybe I mess him up in two, maybe one. Coming from Adrien Broner, those are his statements. And again, this just really excites me for this fight. Intriguing matchup. Not so much that they're on the same level athletically or boxing. Skill wise, I don't think Maidana is as fundamentally sound. He's not as much of an accurate puncher like Broner, but he has the equalizer. One, Broner just moved up to welterweight, had one performance at welterweight against Paulie Malignaggi, which was kind of sketch. I mean, he did jump up two weight classes, but he didn't look remarkable. He was talking all this shit about I'm going to stop Paulie Malignaggi. It didn't look like his power or speed was necessarily the same as it was at 135 or 130. To his defense, though, I will say Paulie Malignaggi earned him some credit last weekend when he schooled Zab Judah. Zab Judah, another athletic fighter with power, southpaw, who has potential to be tricky. Part of it Zab's fault for mentally not holding it together, getting frustrated, not really having a plan B, just trying to. I don't know what ever got into Zab where he feels he can just throw one punch and that's going to win him a fight. But partly you have to give credit to Paulie Malignaggi. Again, Zab Judah has more power than him, arguably more speed than him, but he didn't show it. And Paulie Malignaggi had a great game plan, stayed out of trouble, and dominated Zab Judah. So it shows that Paulie Malignaggi still has something in the tank. He still has the ability to be crafty. It'd be one thing if Broner looked decent against him, okay against him, and then Zab Judah blew him out of the water. Because I'd be like, okay, Zab Judah did what Broner couldn't do. But it shows that Paulie Malignaggi is a slippery, crafty fighter. So a lot of people are holding that fight over Broner's head when it comes to Maidana. Different fight, different fighter. I think Malignaggi, where he excels, is ring intelligence, movement. He's quick. He has reflexes, and he's not much of a puncher, so he makes up for it in other categories. Lateral movement, just being really um, conscious, high work rate. Um, his jab is impeccable, and then that's not really Maidana's style. But where Maidana comes into play to make this an intriguing fight is one, he's improving. He looks a lot better than he did when he fought Devin Alexander. That was his first fight at welterweight, and that was pre Robert Garcia. Garcia's been putting in work with him. He looked great against Soto Caras. I seen him fighting off the ropes using his jab, and Maidana was seeming like more of a well put together fighter, as opposed to sometimes in the past he looked more like a brawler who's just tough and can punch hard. But he's been improving his game. It looks like he's taking training hard. Actually, there's a rumor that states that Maidana wasn't big on training. So who knows? Early in his career, when he was fighting Victor Ortiz and guys like that, I heard he was going on vacation to like Puerto Rico and shit. Wasn't really training for fights. So who knows? He may have been getting by with just being a tough motherfucker with a chin and power punching ability. So now that he's partnered with Robert Garcia, he's learning more or less about the discipline, the art of boxing a little bit more. Is he Pernell Whitaker? No, but he's improving. So props to Maidana and Robert Garcia for working on those things. I've seen Maidana use a jab a lot more, and just he's working towards becoming a more well-rounded boxer as opposed to just a brawler. So that's one thing Broner needs to be cautious of. And then, of course, his power. Adrien Broner didn't look like he had all the power in the world like he did in some of the lower weight divisions when he's fighting Jason Litzows and whatnot. So going against a Maidana who hasn't been stopped, he has losses, but he's never been stopped, and he's been in there with his schedule's been pretty tough. He's like kind of a fighter that fights everybody. His record may be blemished, but he's been in there with a lot of people, kind of like a DeMarcus Corley, but he's not losing as often and with the same frequency that DeMarcus Corley is losing. But DeMarcus Corley, great solid resume, win or lose. Same thing with Marcos Maidana. He's been in there with Devin Alexander's to Eric Morales's to Amir Khan's, all the way to fast forward to the Josito Lopez's, and he's been in there with all those guys, those Soto Carases. So he's fought different styles. Very intriguing matchup. I want to see how Broner looks this time at welterweight. Again, he jumped up 2 weight classes. Maybe he had to acclimate. Maybe it was part of what Paulie Malignaggi was doing right. High work rate, tricky, slippery fighter. We're going to see on Saturday really what goes down and what is the case. Was it Malignaggi was just tricky and he wasn't really acclimated to the weight class? Because I still think Broner won the Malignaggi fight. It just wasn't as much shit as he was talking. He wasn't as impressive as the shit he was talking leading up to the fight. So, like I said, we're gonna find out if it was because he wasn't acclimated to the new weight division. He's had a little bit more time to settle into the weight and that kind of stuff. So, gonna be a great fight. As far as the Malignaggi comparisons, like I said, cut that out. Just stop that. There's nothing that Marcos Maidana does even remotely similar to Paulie Malignaggi, other than get in the ring and lace up his gloves like everyone else. But style-wise, horrible comparison. So you can't really base that. And another thing with Broner haters that's pretty funny to me is Broner's worst performances, like marquee names, people always bring it up because they hate the guy. You know what I mean? They're always going to be like, oh, Daniel Ponce de Leon, tough fight, very tough fight for Broner. But he was young. I mean, the dude was like early 20s, 22 or 19. I don't know how old he was. I know he was young. Very tough fight for him. It's a great experience for him. Paulie Malignaggi, another slippery fighter, 2 weight classes above what he was used to fighting at. These are tough fights for him. He didn't look as good as he did. But then the fights where he looks a lot better than he's expected to look, i.e. Antonio DeMarco, no one really talks about that. No one says, like, he went and took the number 1 lightweight on who had just demolished John Molina Jr. in 1 round, and he took on that test and beat DeMarco, who a lot of people don't give credit to this, but DeMarco, to me, fought a good fight. It was not like he looked suspect like Zab Judah versus Paulie Malignaggi, like he looked like he didn't want to be there. DeMarco was actually landing some good shots. DeMarco looked solid. He looked focused. He hadn't really been stopped before, minus the Edwin Valero fight. And he looked good, but the problem is Broner looked better. He was beating him to the punch. He was beating him on the inside. He was beating him on the outside. His defense looked sharp, and it was a very solid performance by Adrien Broner. But again, haters will be haters. I personally am a fan of Broner and also Marcos Maidana and Robert Garcia as well. So just looking forward to a great night of boxing, and we're going to see where Broner's head's at and where he's at as a welterweight. He's talking big shit. About everyone wants to be where he's at. We're going to see on Saturday. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I'll try to get a prediction video out there ASAP. Let me know what you guys think of this fight and the other fights on this card. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.